This morning we're going to do one from the law library, and this one is going out to all the people all over the world that have been snookered and swindled in their purchases of their homesteads and their homes and small businesses. The reality of the massive laundering of immense amounts of money from terrorism, human trafficking, narcotics trafficking, and other illicit forms of criminal activity have been utilized heavily to fund the subprime mortgages. Now, the reason money that's being laundered will get parked and churned or filtered through, laundered through high interest rate, risky predatory mortgages is because the ability to foreclose and repossess real estate that are under the terms of these highly illegal subprime predatory mortgage agreements allows the people laundering the money to safely invest it where they can be pretty much assured that they can repossess or foreclose on the property up the road, and then of course flip the real estate, get some more down payment money, get a whole bunch more monthly payments, and churn and flip the property again. These predatory subprime mortgage schemes are very profitable to the money launderers. Now, I have an extensive background, if you will, in real estate, going back to where I grew up at Lake George, New York. My parents and a lot of their friends, our family, were involved in all sorts of real estate development, real estate speculations, all sorts of cabins and lakefront homes, lakefront mansions actually, and hotels, motels, restaurants, clubs, you name it, all over the Lake George Basin. Now, since those days, my history, I suppose you could call it, has involved a lot of the building of skyscrapers and airports and hospitals and malls. I've spent a lifetime in the construction industry building some of the most expensive, elaborate, and the largest projects you can think of. Which brings me to this massive banking debacle, the massive savings and loan scandal that was driven by real estate fraud in the 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. These real estate schemes and scams literally go back hundreds of years. One of the more famous real estate speculations scandals in the history of the world would be the South Sea Bubble, and that was in the 1700s, the late 1700s. The Yazoo land frauds, the Pine Barrens frauds of Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas. Huge numbers of Indian land schemes, Indian land frauds in the western United States associated with railroad speculation and the vast seizure of land tracts from the First Nations by the, what would you call, carpetbagging pricks, the carpetbagging pricks from the Eastern investment banks, Wall Street in other words, and Washington, D.C. The United States government's land swindling and land grabbing history is nauseating. It's sickening. The United States of America Incorporated are the biggest bunch of land-thieving criminals in the history of the world. And it's no different today. This Consumer Finance Protection Board, HUD, FHA, the Department of Justice, FBI, are sitting on information that will blow your freaking minds. There have been so many insiders in the government that have lined their pockets from these schemes and scams and bailouts and these huge real estate speculations that are extremely illegal. It is absolutely staggering. Just staggering. The levels of fraud that inside government operatives, inside government agents, sheriffs, state police, judges, prosecutors, lawyers. I mean, the American Bar Association should be run out of town on a tar and feathered rail. The American Bar Association is a stinking joke. Those barristers, those bar mafia members are a bunch of criminals. I'm sorry, folks, but the Bar Association in the United States is a sickening bunch of pigs. Now I want to move along here a little bit to some litigation going on in the federal courts. And I definitely want to say hello to Andrew Lehman. Andrew Lehman, he's been involved in doing some forensics examinations on large numbers of these mortgage swindling schemes. He does it professionally, apparently in all 50 states and maybe even around the world. I hope he's doing it around the world. Examining just exactly how all these crooked, death pledge? They call them a death pledge. They're associated with spending your entire life working for helicopter money. You know, that quantitative easing crap. I said it correctly. Fiat script. Also known as shin plaster. All the central banks throughout the world use this, imagineered money. Ask Jon Stewart. And David Stockman, the former director of the he was the president's cabinet representative for the House Ways and Means Committee or something with Gerald Solomon. Gerald Solomon, Kevin Brady, how are you, my old friends? And even John Cornyn knows who this kid is, and a bunch of the other ones do as well, like Conroe Phil Graham of USB Bank, or UBS, Union Bank of Scotland. My old buddy Phil Graham and Kevin Brady and Nelda Luce Radabow Blair. Now there's a name in real estate that'll stick in your head in the Houston, Texas area. And of course, let's not forget Brian Brewer, or his former wife Marty Brewer, there with Momentum Title. They know who this kid is. And one of my more famous friends, I guess, would be Mark Thurmble, the county clerk for one of the largest counties in America. Mark Thurmble damn sure remembers this kid, along with Judge Alan Sadler, Judge Lynn Hughes, Judge Norman Black, Judge Carl Bew, Judge Kathleen Hamilton. I can name dignitaries in the real estate schemes and scams in Texas all afternoon. And around the country, too. A lot of people all over the United States are beginning to realize that there really is a research team. I got a wonderful lady over to Tennessee who is beginning to understand that this research team is factual. This kid right here from Glens Falls, New York, grew up on the French Mountain Tract and learned real estate metes and bounds from Howard C. Mason. Now, old Howard Mason, he was in his 90s when I met him, and I have to give a tip of the hat to his wife, Reba Mason. Howard and Reba are up in the great beyond, probably, I don't know, cutting the ice on some lake in heaven. Howard was quite a mountain man, actually. But let's get back to this Consumer Finance Protection Bureau bunch of mafia cartel cabal. They're a cabal, Andrew Lehman. They're hiding so much information on this real estate-driven fraud tsunami. Hell, it's a freaking tidal wave of criminal fraud associated with all these less than forthcoming, I guess would be a good way to put it, real estate and mortgage transactions. All this bundling up of these crap mortgages, and then, of course, fraudulently marketing them to FHA, HUD, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Federal Home Loan Bank Board. The United States government's lending agencies took it right in the shorts by these lying sacks of turds from J.P. Morgan Chase. Yep, Nelson and Mullins, old Baker and Donaldson, the lawyers there in Tennessee. Your clients, along with Deutsche Bank and Credit Suisse and Select Portfolio Services, your clients are as guilty as sin, involved in laundering huge amounts of money out of Germany into the United States real estate markets. And you know something quite interesting, and this is for the judges that are sitting on case number 2-19-CV-005. Very interesting thing for Judge Poplin, Judge Corker, and Judge Jordan is the real estate-related money laundering of the defendants in that case. They've already been busted for it on a gargantuan scale. These people are as guilty comes. They used large numbers of residential and small business mortgages in a predatory fashion to launder their money out of Europe and bring it into the United States, concealing it from expatriation taxes in Europe, the European Union, and avoiding taxes and know your client regulations. There's some suspicious activity reporting for you right there. Now talk about your SARS report, William Barr, Christopher Wray, and Donald J. Trump. And no, I'm not fooling around. This video is as serious and real as it gets. In America, during the last couple of massive bank and savings and loan and mortgage broker and mortgage company and insurance company bailouts, hell, they bailed out all the big corporations. Timothy Geithner, 100 cents on the dollar, paid out to AIG. The reason AIG was paid in full, Timothy Geithner, Barack Obama, Eric Holder, Eric Schneiderman, is because AIG knew all the dirty on the United States government. AIG had the goods on all those highly, high-profile, highly sensitive political figures that Tammy McFadden of Deutsche Bank in Florida, the SARS officer, Tammy McFadden, and 5 or 6 of her co-workers there at Deutsche Bank claimed that large numbers of high-profile political figures were having their dirty banking transactions sort of covered up. Tammy McFadden. And you can bet your sweet asses that William Barr and Christopher Wray know damn well who Tammy McFadden is. Right, boys? Now, this old law library that I'm broadcasting from is no joking around. You see, folks, I grew up on 600 acres at Lake George, New York. My parents were in the real estate business, and I guarantee you one thing, this old boy here knows how to run a bulldozer and a backhoe and drive a dump truck like a freaking boss. I grew up making mud and money. Pick up the phone and get a hold of Nelda Luce Radabau Blair. She's the debutante heir to the Luce real estate fortune, and she's married to one of the biggest tax collection law firms in the world, Jim Blair. Ask Nelda Luce Radabau Blair if old Judd Witham's kidding around. And then, of course, you can pick up the phone and you can call former United States Secret Service agent Rick Williams. He's the head of corporate security for ConocoPhillips in the Woodlands, Texas. Ask old Rick Williams if Judd Witham is fooling around. And a nice little chit-chat with Judge Kathleen Hamilton would be an interesting endeavor indeed, to ask Judge Kathleen Hamilton or Judge Stephen McKeithen about what old Judd Witham knows about real estate and real estate fraud and real estate swindles and all those funny little crooked, dirty, criminal, deceptive, fraudulent real estate contracts that go along with all that title insurance. Charlie Fitz, DeLang, Hudspeth, Fitz and Katz at the Greenway Plaza. Call Charlie Fitz and ask Charlie Fitz what old Judd Witham knows about title insurance fraud. Drop a dime on Marty Brewer, Brian Brewer, over at Momentum Title in Houston, Texas, and ask him if old Judd Witham knows anything about dirt dealing, flipping, and churning, and all these stinking real estate mortgage cons that have raped the American economy. And one great big fat inquiry you could make, which would really result in letting you know that this video is no damn joke. Get a hold of William Barr and Christopher Wray, FBI and Department of Justice. And then, of course, drop a dime on the old Consumer Finance Protection Bureau and ask them what old Judd Witham knows about blowing the whistle on the largest financial scandals in the history of mankind. Toxic zombie developments? America looted stupid? The great Texas bank job. And there's more information available to the world that shows the government, this giant financial fiasco, has all been perpetrated from the inside. Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, George Bush, Marvin Bush, what's the other one there? I keep forgetting his name there, from Silverado Savings and Loan. Old Neil Bush. And bring old John Ellis Bush, Jebby. Let's talk about it, Governor Jebby Bush. Florida was the biggest crime scene in America for decades, involving all this beachfront swampland. Right, Jeb Bush? Let's talk about swampland and narcotics trafficking, Jeb Bush. I don't really give a damn if you like me or not, Jeb Bush, because I don't like you one bit either. Not one little bit. And by the way, Mr. Jeb Bush, you remember the Houstonian estates where your mommy and daddy used to live and used to party in the hot tub with Bill and Hillary Clinton and Joanna King and Charlie Wilson? You remember the old Houstonian estates? Uncle Marvin? And the BB&T Bank, boy, they're out of Delaware. Man, I'm going to tell you, man. BB&T Banks and the Bush clan in this real estate scheming and scamming up the gazoo. Tell them, Jeb Bush, tell them old Judd Witham not fooling around. And remember one thing, all the information you could possibly want's available down below. I put all kind of links on it. You can ask any question you want. Christopher Wray, William Barr. The Supreme Court of the United States needs to hear this video. They will go running for, I don't know, they'll try to find a non-extradition country to hide in. A lot of federal judges are in this up to their eyeballs too. Lots of federal judges were appointed to the bench because they're members of local mafias that run all these funny little title insurance and escrow and, mortgage brokering crimes. It's a crime spree, folks. It's a giant crime spree. And Andrew Lehman and Renee Weiler, and Billy Powers and the California 18, and my good old pal, boy, him and I don't like you either, Robert Wagner. Robert Wagner there, old pal, you're not my cup of tea, buddy. Because you think somehow you know more than I do, and I got a message for you, Robert Wagner, there with the California 18 and old Ken Dost and that bunch. I've been around real estate far longer than you have, and my track record in exposing the financial frauds that have raped the living shit out of the American financial system are world famous. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, Robert Wagner. You doubt me? Get a hold of former United States Assistant U.S. Attorney there, Henry Onken. And, what was his name there? His name was Ken Caperton. There you go, old Texas State Senator Ken Caperton. He used to work for John Tower at 515 Rusk in the Federal Building, right across the street from the Republic Bank and Tranquility Park. Yeah, I know the history here, and if you doubt me, pick up the phone and have a chat with Judge Barb Sadler. Or get a hold of, here's one for you, Daniel C. Rice, the old Montgomery County Attorney Dan Rice, and Diane Bass, Frank Bass's widow, and the Montgomery County Commissioner's Court. Them people love me. And I guess one of the best ones I guess you could chat to would probably be old Charlie Fitz from DeLang, Hudspeth, Fitz and Katz. And I said that correctly. DeLang, Hudspeth. Hudspeth wrote the Bible on land titles in Texas. And if you think I'm fooling around, do a search for Hudspeth on title. Dino Couch, Dino, and that whole bunch of people around the Mossbachers. Yeah, I said Mossbachers. And let's see, Roland Carnaby. Iran-Contra Charlie Wilson's war, run right out of Houston, Texas. Hell, Iran-Contra and Charlie Wilson's war was being run out of the Houstonian estates. Right, Jeb Bush? Right, come on, Neil Bush, you want to talk about the Triad gang there, the old Triad Mafia? Lamar Terrace, the Khashoggis, the Bin Ladens, the Gabanifars, and Donald J. Trump. Let's talk about your alliances with Gabanifar, Khashoggi, Bushes, Clintons, and the Bin Ladens. The Trump princess. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, the research team is an extremely real deal. And I've got I think kind of a new friend here. Old Andrew Lehman is beginning to see this picture. And Renee Weiler and Renee Powers, the California 18, Robert Wagner, and Ken Dost. And Richard Bowen from Dallas, Texas, and Gretchen Morgensen, the Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter from the New York Times. And Matt Taibbi. Matt Taibbi's an old buddy of mine from the Rolling Stone. The research team, ladies and gentlemen, it's no joke. And we're coming for your cookies. this crap with Consumer Finance Protection Bureau and FHA and HUD and FHA and the Federal Home Loan Bank Board and all these other cover-up whitewash artists for the United States government incorporated, well, you shouldn't have pulled off this inside job. And just to end this one, I want to drop a name on you. Old Cat Wolford. Get a hold of Catherine Wolford and ask her about, I don't know, Carlyle Group. And ask old Cat Wolford about the Western banks in Houston, Texas, when she was the white elephant lady, liquidating all those distressed and failed real estate assets out of the Western Bank when she was running FDIC's bank liquidation operations all over southwestern United States. Old Catherine Wolford. Cat Wolford, hello there. And Catherine Austin Fitz. Come on down, Catherine Austin Fitz, and bring Linda Miner, or whoever that lady with the Harris County Attorney's Office used to run the KinderCare Daycare Center in Kingwood, Texas. She worked for the Harris County Attorney's Office. Bring her on down to this conversation, and let's talk about what Judd Witham knows about the real estate schemes and swindles in America. Going all the way back to the Colonial House swindles at HUD. Colonial House swindles, the Powers. Steve and Mel Power in Colonial House. The Sharpstown Rent-A-Bank scandal. The I-35 condo swindles. Stonebridge Ranch. And you can always get a hold of the Cochise County Commission there in Arizona and ask the Cochise County people about Judson Witham and what he knows about Arizona land fraud. It's a friggin' story, all right. It's a great big old friggin' story, and you betcha Don Bowles, well, they put a bomb under his car. Don Bowles paid for it with his life. So what does old Judd Witham know about Florida land swindles and all that crap going on up in Utah and Idaho and Alaska? The LDS Mormon Church and their land flipping, land churning, land mortgaging schemes through the Zion's Bank and Far West Bank and all that other crap going on in California and Oregon and all over this country. From Maine to Alaska to Hawaii's full of it. See, old Judd Witham was personal friends with Bobby Harmon. The tallest tree in the forest, the catbird's seat. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it right there. And to my special little friend over to Tennessee, the research team is on the job, and don't you ever forget it. And to my judicial officer friends, Judge Jordan, Judge Poplin, and Judge Corker, this real estate fiasco that's going on all over Tennessee, the jig is up. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to leave it right there. And as always, hasta la vista, God bless. And you betcha one thing, they can't erase me off the internet. The word's out, and everybody from Andrew Lehman to William Barr to Christopher Wray and a whole bunch of other people are well aware that old Judd Witham is the Swamp Fox. Some people call me Mr. Swamp Fox, and that's a tip of the hat to old Marty McFly. Marty McFly and that gang around eastern Tennessee. Ladies and gentlemen, good day.